Okay, everybody. My name is Tim. I am the owner, or one of the owners of Inflatable Office, and I'll be with you for the next 4 hours if you guys can stick it out. 4 hours is a long time, so I understand it. We are recording these, and as long as that works out okay, which it has in the other 2 days, we'll post those up on YouTube so that you can review them later or show other people, or if you get pulled away for something, you'll be able to go back and kind of catch up wherever it was you left off. So we're going to keep everybody muted just so that we don't hear those side conversations and things. You'll have a chance to unmute yourself at the end of each session, and you'll be able to ask questions and get some live help as well. So we're going to have 4 sessions today. The first session that we're going to start is how to use the Office Upgrade. And this is kind of a general session. Don't think for a minute that means it's not important. It's probably, in my opinion, the most important session you're going to do because we're going to go through just some layout things on the site, how to do a few different things that if you learn it in one area, it applies to everything else that you're going to do on the site. So this is a really big one. So the other sessions that we're going to cover are working with leads, which of course you guys spend a ton of time working with leads. That is probably the place you're going to spend the most time in the software. And then we're going to do a session on working with rentals and inventory. And then we're going to finish the day off with a new session, one we haven't done before, called communicating with customers, where we're going to go over printing, emailing, texting, and calling. So we have a pretty full day ahead of us. Even the leads and rentals section, if you attended them before, we've made changes since then with little things, and we may uncover some things that we didn't bring up before. So don't feel like it's a waste. All of it is very good information, and this is going to help you learn it and going to help you excel at it a lot faster. So, excuse me. So let's get started with the Office Upgrade. So as you're seeing my screen here, you're going to notice that we have a certain layout here where we have this green bar on the side on the left here. This is what we call our sidebar. Okay, we have our main menu here across the top, and then we have these little icons over here as well as part of our main menu. And then we have our section here in the center of the screen that is our content and what we're viewing. So that is a pretty simple basic layout. That's going to stick with you in most cases. Almost all of the pages are going to look very similar to this. There are a few exceptions. So let me go over with you first some of the things that you can find here in the main menu so that you know where to find things. So dashboards. Oh, and one thing I want to make clear is that this isn't meant to show all the features and things that we can do. This is meant to help people that are transitioning from the old user interface to the new. So we're going to talk a lot more about just the things that matter in the transition, things that are different, and we're going to try to focus on those. So what we have here is this dashboard link. Now, we didn't have a dashboard link before. This is the overview. It's the same as the overview. It's going to be a lot different, in fact, but this dashboard link takes you to what we have replaced the overview with, but you're going to find a lot of similar things on here. So similarly to the overview, we have the same names, kind of the same location to get to these things over here on the left side. We've added some new ones, so those are kind of good, like an SEO one, and I think maybe the website one is new too. So, and then there's a lot you can do with this, and we've brought over most of the charts and things that you have, not all of them, and we've gotten some feedback on that, and we've been helping people understand why we didn't bring those over and even helping people recreate those in some cases. So if that's an issue for you, let us know. If it becomes something that everybody really wants, we'll probably make a way to bring it over. Most of the stuff that were brought over go in this preset chart category here. So if you're trying to find something, and normally it should be there. If you're a new account or if you're transitioning over, it should be there. But if for some reason you deleted it or it's not there, you can come in here and you can find a lot of these preset ones right in here. So, and then you can add them to your dashboard. So the next menu link here is our events link, where we have our leads page, which should be pretty familiar to you for the most part, our calendar, our customers page, and something new called organizations, where you're able to actually collect customers under an organization and work with them in that way. So a lot of new features that we've brought in with this. So if you haven't looked into it, you should check it out. We have YouTube videos on all these things. The next section here, next menu item, the logistics menu. Here we have our delivery planner. You're going to get disappointed when you click on delivery planner because well, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll like it, but it's going to be the same one that you're used to using with a slightly different look to it. That's all going to change. We're working on putting together a new delivery planner. And if we're coming up a little too close to season to release that, what we'll probably do is give you the option to use either one that you want to use. We won't swap you over automatically. So, but that's coming, and it's going to be really nice when we're finished. We have our tasks. You actually could never get to tasks if you're using CRM. This was not really easily done. We had it in the taskbar. It was kind of hard to work with. This is kind of nice. You can search the tasks now. You can show, trigger on different filters here for the tasks. So that's new and that's nice. We have payroll. Again, that's going to look pretty much exactly the same like the old version. We will be updating that. And then we have our workers area. And then, of course, the workers site link, just to make it easier for you to find that. And then we've added a new menu item called websites. And websites, this kind of looks weird here, but if you have a website with us, with WordPress, you're going to see your domain listed right here. This is a demo account, so we see, a demo site. It's kind of weird. That'll take you actually to the website, and then we have a quick login, so that'll log you into your website to do admin work on the back end of the website. And then you can easily get to what we, used to call your quote page. You can click on here, and that takes you directly to your checkout page if you need to look at that for some reason. The next thing I want to look at here are these different icons up here. And we'll start with our phone bar. So if anybody's using iPhone, this is our phone bar. We're going to go into a little more detail on this when we talk about communicating with customers. But this is where you would make calls, send texts, and so forth. If a call comes in, this is going to pop up automatically and show you information about the call that's coming in. The next icon here is our email bar. Our email bar, we've basically made it possible to do emails anywhere you are in the system. You don't have to be on a certain page or a certain tab. Now you can do it from anywhere, so it's much more convenient. And we're going to cover a lot more about this in session 4 as well. We've taken texting completely out of this, just so you know. It used to allow you to text out here. Those texts were so unreliable because they were sent a different way. We're pushing everyone to use iPhone for texting because that's the only way to get really good deliverable text messages. So, then we have next is our taskbar. So if you're using our CRM tool, you'll have this available to you where you can add tasks. If we go to, so this is set up right now as a journal entry. If we go here, let's see. Well, it looks like something with this account. It doesn't show the other options here, but you'll have other options in here, of course, for adding tasks and reminders and so forth. So that's the taskbar. If you need it, it's right there. We also link to the tasks that we looked at a minute ago, and we also have a way to reset your taskbar. Oh, maybe that was the problem. So anyway, here we go. This is what it looks like with a normal task. A journal entry is just when you want to do a note on a lead or a customer, but you want to also put a timestamp on that so that you can see how that came about chronologically with the customer. So that's the taskbar. Again, all of these they've removed here because we wanted to make them available everywhere in the system, not just on certain pages. So the next option here is this settings cog. This is to replace the settings page that we used to click to. In here, we have all of your settings and more settings than we've had before. We have a gift cards one. We have a new one for, I think, venues. I don't think we had venues before. Time slots. So in this, you're going to see some of the new things that we offer. Our IO phone stuff has been boiled down and put into one item here, but inside of that, there's a bunch of additional pages of settings that you can go to because there's so much to do with IO phone. And you'll probably find some more in here that I didn't even bring up that are new, and more that will show up. So one of the best parts of learning this new system is learning to use this search bar. And I'm trying to use it myself more, and I've noticed it's really improved my productivity. I'm trying to get my team to use it more, and we're trying to make it we're trying to improve it and make it more useful for you. So if, for instance, you're looking for something with tax and you type in tax, what we're doing is we're filtering down all the different settings pages that you might be looking for, and we're trying to bring those right to the forefront. We're highlighting different words in here to show you what you can access that's tax related. Additionally, we're filtering stuff down here in our knowledge base, and so you can click on these. If I were to click on that, it's going to open up this knowledge base for me, and I can kind of look and see what it is I might be looking for. That's persistent, so it's going to stay up there until I clear it. If you click see more, it'll take you to our knowledge base as well, and it'll have that search, and so you're going to see a bunch of different options regarding tax. So knowledge base articles are in the top. Questions and answers from us or other users like yourself will be in the bottom. If you haven't been using this system to get help, I suggest doing it. I suggest going there first, because when you do and you type in a question and you say I want to type in a new topic, oops, that didn't work. It probably has to do with the way I'm logged in here as an admin user. But as you come in here and you type do a new topic, it's going to bring up a bunch of similar answers or questions or knowledge base articles that you might find useful. It might actually answer your question without waiting on us to get back to you. The other thing you can do is if you don't find it, you just submit it as a question to us. And we try to resolve these ones as one of the first ones we do, because not only does it help you, but it helps anybody else looking for the same sort of information. So I strongly encourage you to use that. And again, like I said, you're just typing up here some keyword, oops, if you spell it right, and you're going to see different information about that keyword. If you're looking for something new that we've come up with, you type it in and you're going to see, these knowledge base articles and everything as well. So great way to search for what you're looking for, great way to find it, great way to learn. And sometimes you just forgot something. So I suggest doing that as much as possible. The next section we have here is this little person icon. This is you. You're logged in. You can see over here in the sidebar, we show you the login username that you're using. But over here is where you have a quick link to your account. You can get back to the old site for now. You can get directly to the help stuff. Here's the end user license agreement, and here's where you log out. Pretty simple stuff. So nothing too earth-shattering there. Over on the sidebar here, we have a variety of different things that will show up. What you're noticing now, and then mostly have been noticing as I've been clicking through here, is filters. Filters, these are different ways to search and filter down this list of data, which we would call an item list here, to get what you're looking for. So if I type in here, this is going to be very similar to the keyword filter that we had before. You can select, a specific person, or you can just say, I'm looking for the keyword Beth. I don't need that organization, just anybody named Beth. And sure enough, we show up anybody with Beth. And you can continue to add to that filter. So you could also say that I want it to be, in this city. And so you could use the keyword, or you can actually just click the city name, either one. And then you can say any or all. So any, it's going to do that. If I say all, they both have to match. And it's that simple. I don't want to go into too much detail on this, but you have additional options here for status. If you have a multi-location account, location is also listed here. Of course, we have our dates and different options for dates. And there's a lot of different dates that you can filter on now. This is very new. We didn't let you filter on all these different dates before, so lots of different options. You can see at the bottom here, birth date, that was an optional field. So even optional fields can show up in there. Up here, when our search is using this common fields, the ones that are most commonly searched. So there's a way to change that. This is normally probably shown as this when you come in here. If you click advanced search, you can see this. You can also hide it again, whatever you want. If you click that to clear it, you can see some of the different options here. We have all fields, probably not really all fields, but it's going to give you all the fields that we're searching right now. You can then choose other things. So, and you don't have to scroll through this list either. You can just type in, what you're looking for. A lot of times I'm looking to search on the contact tag name. So I will tag different contacts with different things, and then I want to search on them. So then I would choose that, and then I would click up here and then start searching on whatever that is. I don't even know if there's, okay, looks, well, yeah, I'm not sure what tags we have listed in here. But yeah, that's how I would do that. So that's a quick way to find what you're looking for exactly. Now, part of the reason why you would do that is because if I'm searching common fields and I start typing that in, I'm not going to see contact tag name. It's going to be harder to find, right? Because in this case, it's not even showing up. It's not considered a common field. So it's useful if you're looking specifically for something. And some of you had such big databases that you're just going to see a huge list here. And so you're going to want to key in on exactly what field you're trying to search. So just so you know. And that's probably a little more detail than I should have gone through, but I like to give you guys little nuggets here and there. So let's look at this center section of the page. Oh wait, one more thing. This will transform. The sidebar will transform is kind of contextual. So based on what we're looking at, it's going to change to kind of give you things that will help you for what you're looking at. So in this case, I've clicked on an entity or an item, and now we're seeing, which this is a lead item, and now we're seeing menu items over here. So these are just section headings. So similarly to the tabs that we had going horizontal before, we have sections over here, and you can just click to go to them. So look at it like they're tabs. The nice thing about this is not only can you click to go to them, you can also scroll if you want. So see how we scroll down here? We can just get to all the different sections that we want. This is something new. We have not been able to, if you're editing a lead, we've had things on different tabs, and it's been based on how we decided to do it, and you haven't been able to get to those other tabs unless you save. That's new. We're not making you do this anymore. We're going to allow you to get to everything up front from the start. You can be setting all your dates and times, deliveries, when you're going to deliver and so forth, all at once. You don't have to save the first event information and then move on. Now, because of that, this page has gotten pretty big. That's why I really encourage you to use these sections over here. And you'll also see that to try to make it not so big, we've hide some sections that we don't think are necessary to show all the time. And so you can click this link and it'll show it. And we've also brought new things in here, like you couldn't do payments before on the lead. You actually had to go to the contract like a customer and do the payment. Now you can do it right here. Or if you don't want to click it that way, if you just want to click over here, it'll expand it for you and take you there. So that's kind of how you navigate through these elements. And there's a bit of pattern to it as well. So we're always going to put the log near the bottom, and we're always going to put, and you'll see that these will highlight based on what you're looking at. In this case, we're looking at the log, but technically surveys is the one we're on. So it's highlighting surveys. That'll change once we get our help documents added to this entity, because it'll make it longer. So just to give you an example here, try to find something that's got a decent help document on it. So if we're looking over here at our reports, and we click to make a report or edit a report, we're going to see at the very bottom our help information. You can, of course, scroll to it, or you can click on it. And down here, this is actually pulling in a knowledge-based article. And we're going to try to keep these very up to date for you guys and add all the information that you need in here as you're going through and trying to use this system. We don't see any reason why you shouldn't have that help information right at your fingertips. So yeah, it's all right there for you. The other thing, since we're in here, I'll show you as well. We have these dotted lines under certain field names, and what that does is it tells you that there's some help information right there. We try not to make these too large as far as words go to take up too much space on your screen. So instead, what we've done is we've added that help information right there. So you can click on that or hover over it, and it's going to show you more information about that. If you're still struggling with it, of course, get in touch with us. Same thing with these words up here. If you're not finding what you're looking for, let us know. Let us know that you tried to read this and it didn't make sense to you. Let us know that you tried to search for it and you couldn't find it, because those are the things that we want to fix and add to our help documentation. So we've not historically documented our stuff very well, so we're going to try to really make a change for that and make it easier for you guys to use it. So let's go back to an item list here. I want to show you a few more things that we kind of glossed over at first. The format of the item list. So we see the item list here. We're going to name the item list. So this is what we're looking at, the different items. And then the next section here is kind of like a header that has some different options. Now I started on the leads one because this has the most options. You're not going to see all of these things on every entity because a lot of times it doesn't make sense. And the menus are going to be slightly different, for every entity, because you're going to want to do different things. But let's go ahead and look here at what these different things do. So you see I have a print button here, so I can click on that, and we're going to go into a little more of that when we get to our session 4. A lot of times this is not active. It is in the leads case until you've selected something here. So especially if I look at, see, I can't open this drop down because none of these are active unless I open it or unless I check something right here. So once I check it, I now have different options that I can see inside of here. This button operates on the list and what you've checked. The difference with the print option is that we allow you to go directly to the print option and do some things outside of checking these buttons. But primarily, you're going to check these buttons and then click to do whatever you want to do. So mark them as unread, mark them as read, whatever you want to do, email, print, and so forth. You can also check this. It's going to check everything that's visible. So as we scroll down in a list, you see this loading more at the bottom. We don't load everything all at once, okay? So before you check that check all option, if you need to make sure you go to the bottom of your list to make sure you have everything in there that you want visible, okay? And then you can check the check all button. And I noticed we do have some strange things with the check all button, like, yeah, see all that. So we'll fix those things. We've been alerted to that. So we're working on that. And that, again, has to do with the fact that we didn't have everything showing and it got a little confused. So the next button we see here is the Add Lead Event button. This is basically the Add Item button, okay? So anytime you want to add something to that list, this is the button right here that you're going to go to. So whether you're in referrals, positions, inventory, whatever, it's right here. And you'll see in some cases we have an additional drop-down button right here. And that drop-down button will allow you to do other things. So if we were to go over to inventory, so for inventory, you can add inventory, or we have some easier buttons if you're going to try to add something specifically. And we try to make that a little simpler on you. Just so if that's there, that's still adding an item to the list. It's just a kind of a quick add of a different type of item. It's basically what it's doing. The other thing that you're going to see is these results. This shows you how many are in your current filter in your list for the filter that you have set up. If you have a really large account and a lot of data, sometimes you'll see it as a link that you have to click for it to load that number, okay? It takes extra resources to pull that from the database. So in an attempt to make everything fast for you guys, we only show this if you're a smaller account. If you have a big account and you really need to see that number, just click it. No big deal, it'll show you. So next section here is our report section. What this will do is it'll change the format of this, because this is kind of like a report, what we would call a report, like a spreadsheet view of your data. So if I click in here, any of my reports that I've built for this type of entity will be showing in here, and I can just click it and it's immediately going to change everything for me. So I see exactly the columns that I've specified in my report are across the top, and all that data is then showing below. The next thing here is our print button. So if I wanted to print these results, the 52 results, I would just click that print button. It's going to give me like a printable spreadsheet sort of format, and I can then print off of that. Also, if you have a summable column, it will show that at the bottom of the report. And I think we actually showed at the bottom of this as well. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, I probably could just do a filter here so that I don't have as much data, so it's a little clearer. So here we have 5 results. I guess we aren't showing it on this page here, so let's go ahead and see if we can get that on the report though. This must not be a totalable column here. Oh, I know why it's doing it. I think I have to actually choose a report. The default one won't do that. So yeah, the default view that we give you doesn't do that, but you can click on that and get it. And there we go. There we have our totals at the bottom. So that's how that works. Additionally, in fact, let me stay there. We can export. So if you want a real spreadsheet view, you just do export. It's going to open up in your spreadsheet editor, whether you're using Excel or whatever you're using. It'll open it up that way. It'll basically be the same data that you're seeing in the print option. And we're trying to make this this print and this export extend across most of the entities so that you can get your data out whenever you want to. No big deal. The other thing that we've added here, and I don't know that this is on all entities yet either, is a refresh button. This is what's considered a single page application, the way we built this website. Now, that doesn't mean you can't open multiple tabs. I do, but it takes a little time to load those, okay, because there's a lot of data there. What applications like this are meant for is to be used as a single page, so where you don't open more tabs. But I still think opening more tabs is very useful. However, if for some reason more stuff's coming in and you haven't, you don't want to go up and refresh your browser because it's going to cause a lot longer load time, you can just click this refresh button here and it reloads this list a lot faster. So if you're sitting there and you're waiting for a lead to come in, just sit there and you can just click that and you'll see those leads come in. I'm hoping at some point we can just insert those leads as they show up. But some of that gets difficult. It's possible you may not want us to be doing that. Let's say you're trying to filter a list down. You might not want us to push a new item onto the list, even though it just came in. So we give you the option to do the refresh right here. One of the biggest changes with the way our new system works is the links. And that sounds kind of not exciting, but it is. And I'll show you why. It used to be that when you would click on different tabs, we didn't save that information. We didn't know what tab you were on. You didn't have a history in your browser. So if I click onto this quote and I look at it for a bit, you'll notice that the link has changed. And I close it. And then I click on this quote and look at it for a bit. If I want to go back to the other quote, I really can just click on this and I can go back directly to it. See, it was 2 pages ago. Or I can just click back, and there we go. I'm right back to where I was. So that's a nice new feature. The other thing that enables us to do is some cool things like this, where if we're looking at our dunk tank here, we can expand this view and see more about it. If we click on this button here to edit it, we can come in, make some edits to our dunk tank, or just look at it. If we don't want to edit it, we don't have to. And when we close it, it returns to the previous link, right, that we were at. Now, if we had made a change here to something and we wanted to click to a different link, we're gonna, that was not a good example. Let's see here. So if we're gonna do that, let's see, there we go. So when we've made a change, we try to detect those changes and we give you these prompts that will help you decide then what to do. Do you want to cancel? Oh, I don't really want to go to that new page. I don't want to edit the dunk tank. I just want to cancel. I changed my mind. Or do I want to save what I currently have and then continue on to that page? Or do I just want to open the dunk tank in a new tab? And you can do any one of those that you want. And we're trying to give you those prompts because this is kind of a new way of using it, where we're trying to keep you basically very satisfied on this one single page and not having to open up a bunch of tabs as much as possible. Although, I don't know about you guys, but I just like opening tabs, so I tend to do it anyway. So at the bottom of, so when we're looking now at an item, this is an item, this is a lead item. And again, like I said, this has the most information on it. So it's one I tend to show, and it's one you're going to use the most. We'll see the name of the item up here. So if you're on a referral or a position or a payment method or something, or a delivery type, you're going to see the name of it up here, whatever you clicked on. In the case of leads, we do show an ID over here because that ID is it can be really important. We do see the ID also up in here. We also see the section that you're in. So I'm in the lead section. If I go down to the customer section, I'm in the customer section. Because of that, we're able to keep that history and let you get back when you use the back button of the browser. This is also very convenient if you're working with a coworker and you want to say, hey, I want you to take a look at this. You can actually just take that link and send it to them as long as they're logged in. And when they click it, they're going to go directly where you want them to go, which is really nice. So we see the name here. We see the ID here. If we are showing the ID for that entity in the leads option, in the leads only, we do have additional information that can show over here. If you're using like recurring events, you may see something over there as well. Down on the bottom, so this is kind of the header of that item. Down on the bottom, we have what we call the footer, and see how those header and footer don't scroll. They stay there all the time. The footer is where you can perform your actions. Over here on the right, we can close, we can save and keep the page open, or we can save and close. So we go back to the list. We can save as a copy, where we make a copy of this and go back and stay on it, and we will actually be viewing the copy. If we do a save copy, here's how it works. You can see this ID is going to change. There we go. So now we have a copy, we have a new ID. And then we also have the copy and close, which works more similar to our previous save and copy that we had, where we actually create the copy and close the current lead, so you can go to the copy if you want, or you're just back at the list. So, and that's kind of new. These weren't available the last time we gave this training. So the other thing I want to show you down here is our little message area. Now, a lot of people have been somewhat confused or unsure of, or even annoyed at the messages. We have changed the leads page, so you don't have a recalculate option anymore. You don't do an update anymore. We felt like those were additional steps that were unnecessary. So now what we do is, when you make changes to things in here that need potentially updated or recalculated, we're going to put a message down here, and these messages are stackable. So we only have one message right here right now. See that one? As if we were to do more things, these messages would stack. And let's see if I can trigger a couple of them. Yeah, there we go. So now we have 2 messages here. Oh, now we're up to 4. Okay, so it's doing calculations behind the scene and saying, hey, based on your change, you might want to do this. And you can say, yeah, change it, or no, just ignore it. And if I click change, it's just going to change it for me. I don't have to go up here and do it. It just changed it. If I click ignore, then it obviously won't. So it's real simple to do, and that is intended to make things, a lot easier for you when you're going through and working on your items. Now, not all entities are going to have messages pop up, but when we need to message you, it's going to look very similar to that all the time. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's go through. I want to just make a mention about multi-location. In the case of a multi-location account, for all my multi-location viewers, you do get a location filter like this, and you'll get it on every entity that has locations, okay? So if you're working with a certain location, you change that to that location, it'll stay there. All of these things are persistent, so we don't change them until you clear them. So you see I have a keyword Beth. If I go to a different page and I decide I'm going to go back there, it keeps that for you based on your login. So If you're sharing a login with someone, it's going to be a little tougher because someone else could be clearing the filters that you have and so forth. But if you're using your own login, like if you're a worker or you're the only admin, we're keeping that there for you to make it easier to get back to what you're looking for before. So, but yes, if you have a multi-location company, you're going to see that location option, and you can set that, and it'll carry through most of the software. So. Okay, so yeah, that's a little bit, when I say persistent, we also call that state saving. So we're saving the state of where you are. And we will do that with also here, if you click up on this icon, if you need a bigger, wider view, we'll collapse that. You can click back here and we'll open it, and that'll stay there. So if I click it once and then I go to an inventory item, you can see that didn't change. It stayed like that. If I click on an item, now if I know the icons and what they mean and I know what I'm looking for, I can go directly down to it. If I don't, then I might have to click this to see what those sections are. And I don't know them yet personally, so it'll take a little time for you to get used to that probably too. But it's a way to get a wider view, and if the icon makes sense and you know where to go, you just click it and boom, right there you are. So let's go through a couple of our special pages here, and then what I'd like to do and what we try to do with these sessions is leave about 10 to 15 minutes at the end of them, just to give a chance for people to ask a question about what we went over, make a comment. We try not to, we try to keep them constructive. If you have a complaint, feel free to say it, and we'll go through it. But what we're attempting to do here is to help everybody understand how to learn this new system. So those are the ideal questions that are going to help you and everybody else make that transition. So some of the special pages are, like we already looked at here before, dashboards. That's a special page where we don't have an entity list. We pretty much give you these section headings aren't really sections in this case, right? They're links to, in a way, other pages, okay? Another one would be the calendar. The calendar, again, we don't have section headings and so forth. And I do want to point out that the last time we did the calendar and did these trainings, we had dots on here as opposed to the actual words. And you guys had asked for us to put the words in there, and we did that. And I know there's more things on the calendar that you guys want, and we're working toward that. So I just wanted to let you know that we're working toward them. Keep giving us the feedback. One of the new things with the calendar that you can do is search on the calendar. So if you're looking for something specifically, I can type it in and I will see just that item on the calendar, which makes it a lot easier as opposed to saying, well, I know it's on this day. Now I'm going to start scrolling through and looking for it. So here's a good example. We have a bunch of stuff on that day. And if you want to see it all, you can click this expand all button up here. That is new too. That's something you had asked for. So you can do that as well. But it's still a lot to look through, especially if I've got a very busy calendar. So I can just come over here and type in, I know that lady's name is Kathy. Oh, there it is. No problems. So the calendar is a different style of page. Also, we have things that aren't yet updated, like the delivery planner. That's going to be a little different. And then some of the settings pages, like I think we have an insurance page in here, our QuickBooks page, and some of those have not been transitioned yet, so they're going to look a little different. And sometimes these pages are just going to look different anyway, because they're just like we have our preferences. When we close out of our preferences, we see all of our different preferences here, so we can go to any of our preferences. So the preferences are slightly different. They're kind of like our iPhone, where they're kind of nested, where you can click iPhone and then go through the different iPhone settings pages. So anyway, that I think covers pretty much everything. I may have missed some things. I know you guys are doing a little bit in the chat here, and I think Cody is here with us monitoring. So Cody, is there anything in the chat that came up that you think I ought to cover?